What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Touchdowns to Home Runs. My name's Bernie, and today we're going to be doing a preview and prediction of this week's matchup between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you guys like what you see today, make sure to leave a thumbs up, comment your thoughts down in the comment section below, and subscribe to Touchdowns to Home Runs so that we can do more previews just like these. And enjoy the video. Both teams are coming into this game on 4-game win streaks, and this is a very important game in the early part of the season to shape up what looks like a very competitive AFC North. The Browns-Steelers rivalry is one of the fiercest rivalries in the NFL, and we saw an example of that last year when Myles Garrett took his helmet and hit Mason Rudolph with it. Keep in mind that last year the Browns were also pretty irrelevant, and the Steelers were without their franchise quarterback. Imagine how intense the game is going to be this Sunday when both teams are competitive. The Cleveland Browns are playing very well right now. They come into this game with a 4-1 record after losing their season opener to the Baltimore Ravens and then taking care of the Colts last week by a score of 32-23. Some of the highlights from last week's game: Ronnie Harrison Jr. played his first game for the Cleveland Browns and had a 47-yard pick six. Baker Mayfield was pretty decent. He threw 2 touchdowns but also 2 interceptions. And Kareem Hunt also ran for a total of 72 yards and also tacked on another touchdown. The Browns come into this game averaging 37.5 points per game, which has them ranked number 5 in the NFL. They also have 188.4 rushing yards per game, which ranks them first in the NFL. If we switch over onto the defensive side of the ball, they have one of the best rushing defenses in the league, as do the Steelers. Their rushing defense ranks 4th overall. What I really like about this Cleveland Browns team is how deep they are, especially offensively. When we look at guys like Baker, Odell, Landry, Chubb, Hunt, this is a really deep team who can beat you in a lot of different ways. To start the season, Baker Mayfield has been pretty fantastic. Although to start the season, he's already thrown 4 interceptions, he's also thrown 9 touchdown passes. Hunt and Chubb have rushed for well over 300 yards, and Odell and Landry are nearing 300 yards receiving. The defense for the Browns has also been pretty solid, and obviously they're led by Myles Garrett. He's currently 2nd in the NFL with his 6 sacks, and the Cleveland Browns are the 2nd best team in the NFL in terms of their turnover differential. Coming into the week, the Cleveland Browns are a little bit banged up on both sides of the ball. If we look offensively first, their right guard Wyatt Teller is week to week with a calf strain, and Baker Mayfield also had a bit of a rib injury in last week's game, but he is expected to be a go for Sunday. On defense, cornerback Greedy Williams does have a shoulder injury, and Ronnie Harrison Jr., who got the pick 6 last week for the Browns, is also in concussion protocol, and both players are on the injured report as of now. Last week, the Pittsburgh Steelers improved their record to an impressive 4-0 after beating the Eagles by a score of 38-29. The highlights for the Eagles game last week has to start with Chase Claypool, the rookie receiver for the Steelers. Last week, he had a week to remember: 7 catches for 110 yards. He had 3 receiving touchdowns and also added a 4th touchdown on the ground. Big Ben was also pretty impressive last Sunday. He threw 27 for 34. He threw 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions. The Pittsburgh defense also came up pretty big. They had 5 total sacks, and Steven Nelson also had 2 interceptions. So far, the Pittsburgh Steelers have put up 29.5 points per game, which has them ranked 10th in the NFL. They've given up the 3rd fewest yards per game, which includes the 2nd best rushing defense in the NFL and the 6th least points per game given up. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been led by Big Ben so far, and man, he has been absolutely sensational. He's already thrown for over 1,000 yards, and he has 10 touchdown passes and only 1 interception. James Conner and Benny Snell have created quite the rushing game. James Conner has already rushed for 3 touchdowns this season. And then we can't forget about the receivers when we look at their top 2 guys in Claypool and JuJu, who have already combined for 7 touchdowns this season. So far this season, the Steelers' defense has actually been pretty solid, but they've been plagued by some untimely penalties and some big plays. If we look at the Eagles game last week, they allowed the Eagles to convert on 10 of the 14 third down opportunities, including a 74-yard touchdown. Part of the issue on defense for the Steelers definitely comes from the heavy pressure and blitzing scheme that they use. In fact, on 49% of the plays, the Steelers send extra pressure, which leads the NFL. The Steelers this week have a few guys that are questionable on defense, including DeCastro, so it'll be very interesting to see what adjustments the Steelers can make. Moving on now to this week's betting lines and my picks and predictions. Keep in mind that the lines will fluctuate between now and the end of the game, but I'm just using the odds that I have now. So At the time that I'm making this video, the Steelers are 3-point favorites. The Steelers are a -175 on the money line, with the Browns at a +155, and the over-under for the game total is currently at 51. I think this game is very interesting to bet because both of these two teams are very similar. Both teams like to run the ball and have a good running game, but both teams are also top 5 in rushing defense. So it'll be really interesting to see who will prevail in terms of that category. I think this game will come down to turnovers, and I don't like the matchup for Baker Mayfield. The Steelers send a ton of pressure, like I was mentioning before, and Baker Mayfield is a guy who's already thrown 4 interceptions and who last season showed that he can be inconsistent. Again, I think that because of the pressure, it's just going to be too much for Baker Mayfield. That's my prediction. So give me the Steelers on the money line and on the spread, and give me under the 51 for the game total. If you guys made it to this point in the video, thank you. Let me know what you guys think about this game down in the comment section below. If you liked what you saw today, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to Touchdowns to Home Runs for more previews and predictions just like this. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.